Yes, people, today I'm going to show you how you can turn a vocal like this
If you gave me a chance, I would take it.
into a dirty bassline beat like this.
If you gave me a chance, I would take it. It's a shot in the dark, but I'll make it.
Today is going to be a super simple, straightforward tutorial on how you can get a bassline beat down super easy, whether you're making a bassline remix with a vocal or just generally like a bassline song you're going to get someone sing to, or like a bassline beat that you're going to send to a rapper for them to rap on it. Whatever your intentions are, you're going to be able to do it by the end of this video. I'm going to be running through the drums. I'm going to be running how to get your bassline down, what sort of BPM we want to look at, what sort of structure we want to look at, how we can make those big build-ups, and general sound selection that you want to go for, and little tricks to make your bassline sound more bassline basically. So the first thing we've got to get right is we've got to get his BPM right in his project. I always go for 140 when it comes to this bassline speed garagey sound, whatever you want to call it. You can go a little bit faster, a little bit under, you know, for a bit of variety depending on what sort of thing you're going for. There's no rules, but generally you want to be around 140 to get that bassline feel. Now I always like to start with my drums when it comes to making a bassline beat. So yeah, as you can hear, super punchy, super sharp. First thing we'll start with is our kick. So our drums are just in a 4-bar loop here, just repeated. So that makes it nice and easy. You've only got to make 4 bars and you can just repeat it. But basically with our kick drum, all we want it is 4 to the floor every beat, just 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's just going to keep the tempo nice. And an easy way to check if you've got that right is put your metronome on and it should sync up perfectly with that. You can add little variations to like the end of each bar maybe if you wanted. You could add a little double kick like that. And when it comes to sound selection for your kick, you just want it to be super punchy, something that's going to cut through all that bass, obviously bass line. The keys in the name is very heavy in the bass end, so you want to make sure your kick is going to cut through nicely with all that noise. Now let's go on to our snare. Sound selection wise for the snare, we want something super crispy, almost something that's like stretched out a bit. And the way you get that sound, I think personally, is by layering a few sounds together. Super key when it comes to that bassline sound, something that's going to really cut through, keep the beat going. Where your snares want to be placed is you just want to sync it up with every other kick basically, or the 2 and the 4 of the bar. So if we play them together, basically every other kick the snare will hit. And I mean, it's pretty obvious where it should be. It's like that general stomp clap thing. The next thing, we're going to start adding some movement to this snare pattern. So I've got some little offbeat snares here. A lot quieter than the other stuff, just a little effect sort of thing to add some movement. But that's basically going to want to be on the and of the beat. So altogether it's going to sound like this. Now, something people talk about in the bassline speed garagey world is they talk about having swing to your beat. And basically what that means is putting sounds like a little bit late, so like off the grid. So as you can see here, my offbeat snares are quite late here. If we add them like on the grid, it would sound like this. Which still sounds good, but if we want to get that swingy bassline sound, we want them a bit late. So all we want to do is just move them a bit to the right, like that. Now let's look at the hats next. It's going to be that general boots and cats rhythm, that like you'd get with like a lot of dance music. Again, wants to be on the and. Again, to get that more swing feel, we've also moved our hats a bit to the right. So if we put them on grid, it'll sound like this. Move them a bit to the right. It's a minor thing, but it just changes that feel so much. Now, something we can do to make our hats more interesting is to add a little offbeat hat. And again, they want to be moved later to add to this swing feel we've got. You can put them on beat, but it just sounds better swung. And all together. So as you can hear, it's already coming together, that vibe, if we add the vocal on top.
If you gave me a chance, I would take it.
So you can see it's already getting there, and that should lay the foundation, start recording a bass pattern. Now when it comes to the actual bass line, it's really all about the sound selection. If you don't have the right sound selection, it's just going to sound like you're not making bass line basically. So I'm going to be using Serum to get my bass sounds. This is the first bass sound I'm going to be using. So I'd call that like a whoopee noise, which is super common when it comes to the bassline sound. And often when it comes to the bassline drops, are going to be using multiple basses, not just one bass. With it all being bass, it'd be kind of a bit boring if you just use the one bass sound. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely songs out there that is like that. For the most part, you are going to want to use a variety of different sounds. So here's my full bass line here. So as you can hear, each bass has got a nice sub end to fill that low out, to keep that consistent with the mix. But switching up the sound just makes it interesting. You can hear that the patterns are quite quick, probably not what you'd usually hear with a bass line. And we just kind of switch it up at the end just to give you that feeling that it is the end of the 4 bars and it's going to repeat. If you're wondering where I got any of the bass sounds from and any of the drum kit sounds, it's from my Absolute Bassline Collection kit, which is available on my website. Link will be in the description for that if you want to take a look at that. But just to round off what we were talking about with the bassline pattern, is you can keep it fairly simple. The way we'd play just chords in a song, we're just kind of just sticking to the one note, but we are playing nice fast rhythms to keep that energy up in the drop. So as you can hear, it's super high energy, super bassy, and that's really what you want in the bass line. If we put our vocal with it as well, you can hear it goes nicely. But yeah, you can definitely hear that going off in a club. Now that's like our drop section there, which is obviously the most important part. That's a bit that's going to go off, but also a super important part is the build up into it. And we want to make sure our build up, it's going to really let the audience know that there's, you know, the drops come in, because if you just have your song and the drop just comes randomly and you don't even expect it coming, it's not going to go off at all. It's just going to be like, oh, all right then. So for that, the first thing we want to look at is our drums. We don't want to come in straight away with this 4 to the floor drum, or it's, you know, there's going to be nothing to give in the drop. So what I like to do is I'll take a lot of the kicks out and I'll slowly start adding the kicks in. Other than that though, it's got the same hat and snare pattern in, because you still want to keep that movement. You want people to know, yeah, this is a bassline song, this is a bit of what's coming, but we're going to add that kick in, and when that kick drops, it's really going to start to move. I'll play you what we've got and you'll get the idea. So as you can hear, it sounds a little bit weird with just the drums, but you get the idea of what's to come. And same idea when it comes to the bass. We're not going to add all the crazy wob noises in. We're going to have something a bit more subtle than that. So I've just gone with this subby like Reese bass that's from my pack as well, playing the same notes as what we've got in this drop, but just in a different way. And you can hear it dipping like crazy there because of the side chain that I've got with a kick, which is very important if you want that kick to cut through. But let's add the drums and that in. Now, because bassline, it is super bassy, it's good to fill out that top end a little bit with something, but it needs to be something fairly subtle. So I've just got a sustained high string throughout this build-up. You can hear it just adds so much vibe straight away, just having that note. And if you're wondering how you know what note to put your string sound on, your sustained note, just go to your bass line and grab the first note that you start with in your bass line, and it should 9 times out of 10 be the right note that you want that to be on. Now, another super common thing that you're gonna hear in bassline is like violin string sounds. So I've added a string noise in the build up and a nice little melody, because that is, again, even though it's called bassline, you do get these like beautiful melodies that are played sometimes, especially in the vocals obviously, but again sometimes on synths or, like I'm saying here, strings. So I've just got this nice little string melody here that just repeats it over and over again. It's super simple, it's only a bar long, but it's super effective. And you can hear it's almost got that grime like bounce to it. It's still got a lot of bounce even though it's like a string, it's not a drum, but it's still very... You can feel that movement it's got to it. And we just start teasing one of the basses that we've got here, again just to let people know that there is something coming. So all the instrumentation here played together leading up to the drop. So I'll play you all the instrumentation that we've just been through leading up to the drop so you get the idea. So there you go, you can very clearly hear that's a build up and this is a drop, which is exactly what we want, but it still feels like something's missing, and that's the effects side of things. So in our build up we just want to add something like a riser, and again, not to keep plugging the pack, but the point of the bassline collection that I've got on my website is it's got everything you need. We have got like risers and impacts and stuff like that, crashes as well. Some of these I just got from Splice and some of them are from the pack. Yeah, I've just got this like down sweepy noise and then a riser up into it. This is obviously played underneath the build-up. Then obviously get into the drop. And then just to add to that, I've got a couple crashes. And also I've just added that classic gunshot noise in between the drop that you get. So we've got a reload sound and then the gunshot's actually going off just in between the drop, the build-up and the drop. It is a fun bassline thing to do to your songs, just for the crowd to, you know, just to have that moment like, whoa, what's going to happen? And then it drops, you know what I mean? That's basically everything, super simple but super effective. So I'm going to play it all together now so you can hear what that all sounds like. So there you go, there's a look into how you can easily make a bassline beat. There are the steps that you need to do, and if you do them right, you'll get a bassline song out of it. It's as simple as that. But like I say, the key thing here is sound selection, and I think that's pretty much what it is when it comes to the majority of production. It's getting the right sounds in there and then just getting the right feel, like getting your swingy drums in, that really makes that difference to it sounding like a proper bassline tune. So yeah, thank you for all watching this first video on the brand new channel. If you made it this far, please drop a like and hit a subscribe for future videos coming every week. I'll see you all in the next one.